Y'all listen to me. The way you start your day determines how you live your life. And I'm telling you right now, if you wake up and you don't start with gratitude, you already lost the battle. See, every morning you open your eyes, that's a gift. That's purpose. That's potential. That's another shot to do it better than you did yesterday. But some of y'all waking up complaining, I'm tired, it's too early, I gotta go to work. No. You get to wake up. You get to breathe. You get to chase your dream. That alarm clock didn't wake you up. Grace did. God did. Purpose did. And when you wake up with gratitude in your heart, you set the tone for the whole day. You can't be thankful and negative at the same time. You can't focus on complaining while you're focused on blessings. Gratitude builds momentum. It builds energy. It builds resilience. I dare you, before you even touch your phone, before you look at the world, look within, say thank you out loud. Thank you for life. Thank you for another day. Thank you for strength. Start your morning like a warrior, not a worrier. Gratitude ain't weak, it's a weapon. And if you want to go to the next level, you better learn to use it every single morning. Gratitude resets your mindset. It sounds simple, but it's one of the most powerful truths you can ever embrace. When you wake up in the morning, your first thoughts shape your day. They guide your emotions, your actions, your energy, and even how you respond to people and situations. That's why starting your day with gratitude is not just a nice thing to do, it's a strategy for success, peace, and purpose. Think about it. You've just opened your eyes, you're still in bed, and in that moment, your mind is either reaching for stress, worries, distractions, or it's reaching for something higher. When you consciously decide to begin the day with gratitude, you interrupt the cycle of negativity before it starts. You take control. You're no longer letting the world set your mood. You setting the tone for the world you're about to step into. Gratitude is not passive. It's an active decision. It's an act of discipline and awareness. It's easy to wake up and immediately think about the bills you have to pay, the job you're not passionate about, the argument you had last night, or how tired you feel. But gratitude flips the script. Gratitude says, before I complain about what I lack, let me acknowledge what I have. And when you do that, something powerful happens inside you. Your mind begins to rewire itself. You stop seeing problems as burdens and start viewing them as challenges, as lessons, as stepping stones. That's the reset. That's the shift. You're no longer stuck in a loop of fear, anxiety, or disappointment. You've realigned your mind with hope, purpose, and abundance. People don't always realize how much power they give away each morning. The moment they check their phone, scroll through social media, or read the news, they're allowing the outside world to decide how they feel. But when you start with gratitude, you reclaim that power. You say, no, I'm going to begin from a place of strength, not stress. You become intentional about your energy. This isn't just about feeling good either. Science backs it up. Studies show that people who practice daily gratitude have lower levels of stress, sleep better, and even have stronger immune systems. It changes your brain chemistry. Gratitude increases dopamine and serotonin, the chemicals that make you feel joy and peace. So it's not just a mindset, it's medicine. When you reset your mind with gratitude, you become more focused. You stop chasing distractions and start chasing purpose. You begin to see opportunities where you used to see obstacles. You engage with your goals from a place of abundance instead of desperation. You're more patient, more present, and more powerful. Let me tell you, life will always have problems. That's a guarantee. You will have challenges. There will be mornings where you don't feel like getting up, where things feel heavy, where the future feels uncertain. But gratitude doesn't wait for everything to be perfect. It doesn't rely on good circumstances. Gratitude says, even in the storm, I choose to be thankful. That choice is what resets your mindset. Imagine starting your day by saying, thank you for this breath. Thank you for another shot at life. Thank you for the people who love me. Thank you for the lessons I've learned, even the hard ones. You're not pretending everything is great. You're choosing to focus on the things that are. That decision, that focus, that practice, it becomes your superpower. Gratitude doesn't ignore reality, it reframes it. You stop being reactive and start being proactive. Instead of dreading the day, you step into it with purpose. Instead of looking for what might go wrong, you begin searching for what can go right. That shift in perspective is the difference between surviving and thriving. And let me tell you something else. The people who are most successful in life, whether it's in business, relationships, health, or mindset, they've learned how to control the way they think. They've trained themselves to be grateful, not just when life is good, but especially when it's hard. Because gratitude is a weapon. It's how you fight back against doubt, fear, anxiety, and negativity. So the next time you wake up, before you do anything, pause, breathe, speak gratitude out loud, make it real, say it like you mean it, let it set the tone. Don't let your circumstances decide your attitude. Let your attitude influence your circumstances. Gratitude resets your mindset. It puts you in the driver's seat. It tells your soul that you're ready. It tells the universe that you're open. It tells your purpose that you're serious. And that's how greatness begins. Not with luck, not with talent, but with a heart that chooses to be thankful before anything else. That's how you win. One grateful morning at a time. Waking up is a privilege, not a guarantee. It's one of those truths that we often overlook, something so basic yet so powerful. Every time your eyes open in the morning, every time your lungs take in a fresh breath of air, that's not just biology, it's a blessing. It means you've been given another shot, another opportunity to live, to grow, to make an impact, to chase your dreams. But many of us treat it like it's automatic, like it's owed to us, like it's part of the package deal of life. The truth is, it's not. There are people who went to bed last night and didn't get to see the sunrise today. And yet here you are, alive, breathing, thinking, reading. That alone is reason enough to be thankful. We live in a world that moves fast. Alarms go off, notifications buzz, schedules demand our attention, and responsibilities weigh heavy. And in all that noise, we forget the miracle of simply waking up. The moment your feet touch the ground, that's not something to take lightly. That's a divine reset. No matter what happened yesterday, whether you failed, fell short, argued, felt broken, it doesn't matter. Waking up means you've got a brand new chance to do it differently, to do it better. And that's what makes waking up a privilege. It's not just about being alive. It's about what you do with the life you've been given. Every morning you wake up is proof that your story isn't finished. There's more to write, more to say, more to accomplish. You're not done yet. And that alone should spark a fire inside you that should ignite a level of gratitude that makes you want to show up fully with heart and hustle every single day. Too many people waste their mornings. They wake up and instantly complain about the job they have to go to, the body they're in, the life they're living. But think about this. There's someone out there lying in a hospital bed praying for just one more normal morning. Just one more chance to walk, to talk, to breathe without pain. And here you are complaining about the very thing someone else is dreaming about. Waking up isn't something you have to do. It's something you get to do. When you understand that it changes how you live, you stop taking time for granted. You stop living on autopilot. You begin to realize that every second you've been given is a gift. And gifts are meant to be used, cherished, and honored. You start to move with purpose. You speak with more kindness. You work with more intention. You stop wasting your energy on things that don't matter and begin investing in what truly does. Waking up gives you access to change. It means whatever mistake you made yesterday, you can correct it today. Whatever goal you didn't hit last week, you got time to chase it now. You're not stuck unless you choose to be. That's what makes waking up such a powerful moment. It's freedom, it's permission, it's potential. And listen, nobody knows how many mornings they have left. That's the truth we don't like to talk about. We assume tomorrow is coming. We act like we've got endless time, but we don't. That's why it's so important to treat each morning like the gift that it is. Wake up and live like it matters, because it does. You matter. Your life matters. Your purpose matters. And every single morning is a reminder that the world still needs you in it. Gratitude grows when you recognize that your time here isn't promised. It humbles you. It motivates you. It makes you look at the clock differently. Suddenly, 5 more minutes of sleep isn't worth more than 5 minutes of growth. Scrolling on your phone doesn't feel as important as checking in on your dream. Hitting snooze isn't as appealing as stepping into your calling. When you see waking up as a privilege, you start showing up like you mean it. You move like someone who's been chosen, not cursed. You walk like someone who's aware of the blessing. You talk like someone who knows that time is sacred. And that mindset, that awareness, That's what separates people who exist from people who live. So tomorrow morning, when your eyes open, pause. Don't rush into the noise. Don't jump right into distraction. Take one deep breath and realize you didn't wake yourself up. The alarm clock didn't do it. Grace did. God did. Purpose did. That breath in your lungs is evidence that your mission on this earth isn't done yet. You've still got something to give, something to build, something to become. Waking up is not routine. It's a reminder that you're alive for a reason. And when you carry that awareness into your day, everything changes. Your attitude shifts, your focus sharpens, your energy multiplies. Because when you know that today wasn't promised, you stop wasting it. You start living it fully, gratefully, powerfully. So don't just wake up. Wake up with intention. Wake up with gratitude. Wake up ready to give this day everything you've got because you've been given the chance. And that chance is the greatest privilege of all. Gratitude fuels purpose. It may sound like a motivational quote, but it's a deep truth that can transform how you live your life. Purpose doesn't just come from setting goals or chasing dreams. It comes from recognizing that your life, your opportunities, and your experiences all mean something. When you live in gratitude, you begin to see your purpose more clearly. You start to move through life with more clarity, more passion, and more direction because you're no longer focused on what's missing. You're focused on what's possible. When you're grateful, you stop asking, why don't I have more? And you start asking, what can I do with what I've got? That shift in thinking is where purpose is born. See, purpose isn't just about what you want. It's about what you're willing to give. It's about what you're willing to serve, build, and contribute to the world. Gratitude gives you the eyes to see your life not as a burden, but as a platform, not as a series of struggles, but as a series of assignments. You begin to recognize that your story matters, your gifts matter, and your voice matters. Think about it. When you're constantly comparing yourself to other people, when you're bitter about your situation or your setbacks, your vision gets clouded. You can't see your purpose because you're too focused on your pain. But when you practice gratitude, your heart opens up. You stop seeing life as something that's happening to you and start seeing it as something that's happening for you. Even the struggles become part of the calling. Even the tough moments have meaning. And when you can find meaning in your moments, you begin to walk in purpose. Gratitude is a compass. It keeps you centered when life gets confusing. It reminds you of what's real and what matters. Purpose isn't just about chasing big dreams. It's about being faithful in small things. And when you're thankful for the small things, when you appreciate the little moments, the ordinary gifts, the daily lessons, that's when you start to tap into your deeper calling. Because here's the truth. You can't live with passion if you're always living with resentment. You can't build something meaningful if all you feel is entitlement. Purpose requires perspective. You have to see your life through the right lens. And gratitude gives you that lens. It helps you see your gifts instead of your gaps. It reminds you that you already have enough to start, enough to serve, enough to grow. Some people are waiting for everything to be perfect before they pursue their purpose. They say, I'll go after it when I have more time, more money, more support, more clarity. But gratitude says, start with what you have. Use what's in your hands. Be faithful with your now. That's how purpose is unlocked, not by waiting for more, but by doing more with less. And the only way you can do that is if you're grateful. Gratitude gives you strength when the journey gets hard. Because let's be honest, pursuing purpose isn't easy. It comes with setbacks, failures, disappointments, and doubts. But when you're grounded in gratitude, you don't give up as easily. You don't let challenges defeat you. Instead, you find the lesson, the growth, the hidden blessing. You stay in the fight because you're not just doing it for recognition or rewards. You're doing it because you're thankful to even be in the arena. That kind of mindset is powerful. It's magnetic. It inspires others. People are drawn to those who live with gratitude and purpose because there's a light in them that can't be dimmed. They're not bitter. They're not chasing empty validation. They're walking in something real, something bigger than themselves. And that's what we need more of in this world. People who know what they're here for and are grateful to live it out. When you wake up in the morning and say thank you, you're not just acknowledging the gift of life. You're activating your purpose. You're reminding yourself that you got work to do, that there's someone out there who needs your voice, your presence, your story, that you're not just here to survive, you're here to serve. And that mission, that sense of divine assignment becomes your fuel. You start to see the people around you differently. You listen more deeply, you give more freely, you work more passionately, not because everything is perfect, but because you've learned how to be grateful in the middle of the process. And that gratitude transforms your process into purpose. You no longer feel lost or aimless. You wake up with intention. You move with conviction. You live like it matters. So don't wait for a sign. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait until life gets easier. Gratitude is your starting point. Gratitude is the doorway to your calling. When you make it your daily habit, you will discover that your purpose was never hidden. It was just waiting for you to pay attention. And once you see it, once you really embrace it, everything changes. You stop chasing meaning and start creating it. You stop asking what's missing and start declaring, I'm ready. Because gratitude fuels purpose. It makes your life rich, not in stuff, but in substance. And when you live with that fire in your heart, when you rise every morning knowing you've been given a gift and a mission, you become unstoppable. There's something powerful about setting the tone for your day, and it all begins with how you start your morning. Before the world gets loud, before responsibilities demand your attention, there's a window of time, those first few moments after waking up, that determine the direction your day is going to take. Gratitude in those moments is like a steering wheel. It puts you in control. It gives you focus. It reminds you that no matter what lies ahead, you're already starting from a place of peace, appreciation, and strength. Most people roll out of bed and they immediately reach for their phone. They check messages, emails, social media, and before they've even brushed their teeth, they're already reacting to the world. That's a problem. Because when you start your day in reaction mode, you give away your power. You let external circumstances dictate your internal state. But when you start your day with gratitude, you reclaim your control. You choose your mindset before the world tries to choose it for you. Imagine waking up and before doing anything else, you take a deep breath and say, thank you. Not for anything big, not for some dramatic breakthrough, just for waking up, for the breath in your lungs, for the chance to begin again. That simple act shifts your energy. It grounds you. It connects you to the present. And it reminds you that even if nothing else goes right today, you've already been given something valuable, life itself. Gratitude doesn't just make you feel good. It makes you think differently. It rewires your brain to focus on what's working instead of what's lacking. It teaches you to see possibilities instead of problems. That shift in thinking changes everything because your thoughts create your emotions. Your emotions influence your actions, and your actions build your reality. When you start your day with positive thoughts, everything that flows from there carries that energy. Let's be real. Life isn't always easy. You're going to have hard days. You're going to face stress, disappointment, and setbacks. But gratitude is like emotional armor. It protects you from negativity. It gives you perspective. You stop letting small inconveniences ruin your whole mood. You stop giving energy to things that don't deserve it. You carry a kind of calm confidence into your day because you've already decided how you're going to show up. When you develop the habit of starting your day with gratitude, you start to notice how everything feels different. You're more patient in traffic. You speak more kindly to others. You treat your work with more care. Why? Because your heart is full. You're not chasing validation or drowning in stress. You're centered. And when you're centered, you perform better. You communicate better. You live better. It's not about ignoring reality or pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing what you focus on. Every morning you wake up, you have two choices. You can focus on your problems or you can focus on your purpose. Gratitude helps you choose purpose. It helps you see that no matter what challenges you're facing, you still have value to give. You still have something to contribute. You still have reasons to keep going. People who start their day with gratitude don't wait for happiness, they create it. They don't wait for everything to go right. They make the most of what's already right. That's the power of intention. That's the power of choice. You can't always control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond. And the way you start your morning sets the tone for those responses. Think of gratitude as a daily ritual. It could be as simple as writing down 3 things you're thankful for or speaking a short prayer. or just pausing for 30 seconds to breathe and reflect. You don't need an hour-long routine. You just need consistency. Over time, those small acts create massive shifts in your mindset. They teach your brain to default to thankfulness instead of stress, presence instead of distraction, and hope instead of fear. When your mind starts the day in gratitude, your energy attracts better outcomes. You begin to recognize opportunities you might have missed. You handle adversity with more grace. You're more resilient, more grounded, and more joyful. That doesn't happen by accident. It happens because you've made a choice. You've decided that you're not going to let circumstances dictate your peace. You're going to walk into each day already anchored in something stronger than your situation. So before the emails, before the deadlines, before the meetings, before the noise, give yourself that gift. Pause, reflect, say thank you. Set the tone. You'll be surprised how much better your day feels when you start it from a place of appreciation. It's not magic. It's mindset. And mindset changes everything. Don't underestimate those early moments. Don't waste them on anxiety, on worry, on comparison. Use them to build yourself. Use them to connect to something deeper. Use them to declare how you want to show up in the world. Because when you lead with gratitude, everything that follows becomes lighter, brighter, and more aligned with the life you're trying to create. Gratitude improves mental clarity, and that clarity is essential if you want to live with intention, focus, and peace. We live in a noisy world filled with distractions, worries, opinions, and pressure. From the moment we wake up, our minds are bombarded with messages pulling us in 1,000 different directions. It's easy to get overwhelmed. It's easy to lose sight of what matters, but gratitude cuts through that noise. It brings you back to center. It clears the mental fog, helping you see what's real and what's just mental clutter. When your mind is cluttered, your life becomes scattered. You make decisions out of fear, comparison, or confusion. You're more likely to procrastinate, more likely to react instead of respond, and more likely to feel stuck. But gratitude changes that. It doesn't just make you feel good, it helps you think better. It sharpens your mind by helping you filter out what's unnecessary and focus on what's essential. You start your day from a place of clarity because you're not rushing into action. You're rooted in awareness. Mental clarity doesn't come from having all the answers. It comes from having the right perspective. When you start the day in gratitude, you see the blessings in your life. You recognize that despite the challenges, you have things to be thankful for. That awareness pulls you out of negative thinking. It stops the cycle of rumination and overthinking. It quiets the mental chatter. Gratitude shifts your mind from what's wrong to what's strong. Have you ever noticed that when you're grateful, you're more present? You're not stuck in the past, and you're not anxious about the future? You're in the now, you're aware of your surroundings, you appreciate the moment, and that presence gives you power. It allows you to make thoughtful decisions, to listen more intently, and to act with intention instead of impulse. Clarity isn't just about knowing what to do, it's about being fully engaged with where you are. Gratitude acts like a lens. It helps you zoom in on what really matters and blur out the noise. You stop wasting mental energy on things that don't serve you, like gossip, jealousy, or regret. You stop overanalyzing every decision. You stop chasing perfection. Instead, you embrace progress. You move forward with simplicity, with focus, with peace of mind. That's what mental clarity looks like. Not a perfect life, but a clear mind navigating an imperfect world with wisdom and grace. Another way gratitude brings clarity is by aligning your values with your actions. When you're thankful, you pay attention to what you truly care about. You prioritize relationships, purpose, and growth over ego, competition, and distraction. You stop living on autopilot. You start asking better questions. What do I really want? What's really important? What's the best use of my time and energy today? That kind of intentional thinking only comes when your heart is open, and gratitude opens the heart. So many people feel stuck in cycles of stress because they're chasing things that don't truly fulfill them. They're busy but not productive, active but not aligned, moving fast but not moving with direction. That's not clarity, that's chaos. But when you practice gratitude daily, you begin to untangle those knots. You get clear on what fulfills you. You stop living for the applause and start living for alignment. You let go of what you can't control and focus on what you can influence. That mental shift is everything. Gratitude also improves your clarity in relationships. When you're thankful, you communicate with more empathy. You see the good in people. You become less reactive. You stop jumping to conclusions or taking things personally. Your mind isn't clouded with resentment or assumptions. Instead, you listen better, respond with care, and connect more deeply. That kind of clarity can heal relationships, strengthen teams, and build trust. Let's talk about decision making too. A cluttered mind struggles with decisions. You hesitate, overthink, or make choices you later regret. But a grateful mind is calm, is grounded. It knows what matters. Gratitude helps you trust yourself more. It helps you tune in to your intuition. You make clearer, faster, and more aligned decisions. Not because you have all the facts, but because you have a peaceful mind that isn't driven by fear or scarcity. You can even see this in your goals. When you're living in gratitude, your goals are clearer and more authentic. You're not chasing someone else's version of success. You're not setting goals based on insecurity or comparison. You're pursuing what truly lights you up. You know what you're working toward. And you're motivated by appreciation, not desperation. That's clarity in its purest form. And here's the beautiful part. The more clarity you gain, the more grateful you become. It's a cycle. Gratitude brings clarity, and clarity deepens your gratitude. You start noticing more blessings. You see the beauty in small things. You wake up with a sense of peace, not pressure. You go to bed with a sense of accomplishment, not exhaustion. Your mind becomes a space of clarity, creativity, and calm because you chose to start your day with something as simple and powerful as gratitude. In a world that thrives on urgency, noise, and distraction, mental clarity is a superpower, and gratitude is the path to that power. So if you want to think better, live better, and be more intentional with your life, start each morning with thanks. Say it out loud, write it down, reflect on it, let it shape your thoughts. Because when your mind is clear, your path becomes clearer too. When you wake up and begin your day with gratitude, something profound happens. You immediately shift from a state of expectation to a state of appreciation. And when you're in appreciation, you carry yourself differently. You walk differently. You talk differently. You show up for yourself and others with a level of presence and power that cannot be faked. One of the greatest gifts gratitude gives you is resilience. It's the ability to face your challenges head on without crumbling. It gives you the strength to rise when life tries to knock you down because it roots you in what's real, what's good, and what's still possible. Gratitude doesn't eliminate adversity. It doesn't shield you from failure, rejection, loss, or pain, but it gives you the mindset to endure and even grow through it. You start recognizing that even in the middle of your worst seasons, there are still things to be thankful for. That doesn't mean you ignore the pain. It means you don't let it consume you. You acknowledge the struggle, but you also acknowledge the strength it's building in you. That shift in mindset changes everything. Most people break when they don't see progress or when they feel like life isn't going their way. But when you start your day with gratitude, you understand that every day is a gift, even the hard one. You see that life isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. And that awareness builds mental and emotional muscle. You become more flexible, more adaptable, more grounded. When obstacles come, you don't panic, you pivot. You don't complain, you recalibrate. You stay focused, not flustered, because you're anchored in something deeper than just what's happening on the surface. Think about the people who inspire you most. Those who've overcome hardship, who've stayed consistent despite setbacks, who've transformed their pain into purpose. What do they all have in common? Gratitude. They don't just push through for the sake of pushing through. They've learned to find meaning in the process. They've learned to find light in the dark. They've trained their minds to focus on what they do have rather than what they lack. That's why they keep going. That's why they're resilient. Gratitude helps you zoom out. It gives you perspective. When you wake up and start the day in a state of thankfulness, you're less likely to get derailed by small inconveniences or temporary discomfort. The traffic, the delays, the criticism, it doesn't shake you because your mind is already calibrated to the bigger picture. You're not living for comfort, you're living for growth. And gratitude makes growth possible because it allows you to extract value from every experience. One of the biggest lies we're told is that strength comes from doing everything perfectly. But real strength comes from continuing when everything's imperfect. It's the quiet endurance, the decision to keep going when the circumstances aren't ideal. And gratitude fuels that endurance. It reminds you why you started. It reminds you what's still worth fighting for. It gives you the emotional stamina to take one more step, to make one more call, to show up one more day, even when you feel like giving up. When you make gratitude a daily practice, you start celebrating progress, not just perfection. That means you begin to see value in every step forward, no matter how small. And when you value progress, you keep moving. You don't get stuck in self-pity or comparison. You don't wait for everything to be perfect before taking action. You realize that your power is in your persistence, not your perfection. And that kind of mindset builds unshakable resilience. There's also a spiritual strength that comes with gratitude. It's that inner knowing that even if you don't have everything you want, you already have enough to start. You already have enough to try. You already have enough to be a blessing to someone else. That spiritual grounding gives you the courage to face fear, to silence doubt, and to rise again and again. Not because life is easy, but because your heart is full. Gratitude keeps you connected to your why. And when your why is strong, your how becomes unstoppable. You'll find the energy. You'll find the courage. You'll find the strategy. Because you're not moving from lack. You're moving from love. Love for life. Love for purpose. Love for the opportunities you've been given. And that kind of love makes you fierce. It makes you focused. It makes you resilient. So every morning before the world gets loud, before the pressures of the day weigh down on you, pause. Give thanks. Name your blessings. Feel them. Let that gratitude fill you up. Not just emotionally, but spiritually. Let it be the foundation you stand on when the storms come. Let it be your reminder that you've already overcome so much. And you're still standing. You're not fragile. You're not weak. You're built for this. And gratitude is your reminder of just how powerful you really are. When you wake up with thanks, you face the day with strength. You carry yourself with confidence. You show up with resilience. And no matter what comes your way, you keep moving forward. Not because life is perfect, but because your perspective is powerful. Gratitude, when practiced daily, especially first thing in the morning, acts as a magnet for positivity. It sets the tone for how you perceive and respond to the world around you. The energy you put out is often the energy that comes back to you. And when you begin your day with a grateful heart, you naturally radiate joy, kindness, and openness. That kind of energy attracts better experiences, better people, and better outcomes. You start drawing in opportunities, not because you're chasing them with desperation, but because you're aligned with abundance and contentment. So many people wake up already thinking about what they lack, what they haven't accomplished, what they don't own, or what's going wrong. That kind of thinking sends a message to the world that they're in a state of scarcity. And scarcity repels opportunity. But when you wake up and immediately shift your focus to what's already good in your life, no matter how small, you communicate to the universe that you're ready for more. Not out of desperation, but out of appreciation. That subtle energetic shift makes all the difference. When you carry gratitude into your interactions, you treat people with more warmth and patience. You become someone others want to be around. You listen more intently. You encourage more sincerely. You lead with empathy instead of ego. And people respond to that. They remember how you made them feel. Doors open when you carry the right energy. Relationships deepen. Conversations become more meaningful. You start to experience connection at a higher level. And it all begins with the energy that gratitude brings. Even in business or career settings, gratitude is magnetic. When you walk into work with a thankful mindset, you approach challenges with curiosity rather than frustration. You see problems as chances to grow instead of burdens. Your coworkers notice your attitude. Your team respects your resilience. Your leaders trust your stability. Why? Because people gravitate toward those who uplift the environment, not those who drain it. Gratitude makes you a source of light, and light always draws people in. Gratitude also helps you recognize opportunities you might otherwise overlook. When you're grateful, your perspective shifts from entitlement to awareness. You start noticing the small blessings, a helpful mentor, a new idea, a kind gesture, a fresh start. You're more present, and being present means you catch the little openings that lead to big breakthroughs. So many people miss their blessings because they're too focused on what's next or what's missing. But gratitude sharpens your vision. It helps you see the good that's already within your reach. The energy of gratitude also impacts your self-permission. When you're thankful for who you are and what you've overcome, you radiate confidence. Not arrogance, but a quiet, grounded assurance. You stop needing constant validation because you already feel full. And that kind of self-assured energy attracts people and opportunities. Confidence rooted in gratitude is powerful. It's not about being the loudest in the room. It's about being the most anchored. What's more, gratitude creates a ripple effect. When you lead with thankfulness, others begin to mirror it. You set a tone. You inspire others to pause, reflect, and appreciate their own lives. You create a culture of positivity, even in spaces that might be used to stress or negativity. That energy shift can elevate a family, a workplace, a community, and that's how you become a light in someone else's day, just by choosing to begin yours in gratitude. You also start to attract better habits when you live in gratitude. You naturally take better care of yourself because you appreciate your body and your mind. You invest more intentionally in your time and energy because you're aware of how precious they are. You let go of toxic behaviors and environments because you realize your peace is worth protecting. That internal shift, born from gratitude, guides you toward a life that's more aligned with your highest self. It's important to note that this isn't about ignoring problems or pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing to focus on what empowers you rather than what drains you. When you're grateful, you acknowledge that good exists even in the midst of challenges. You train your brain to find what's working instead of fixating on what's broken. That mindset doesn't just feel good, it actually transforms your brain, rewiring your thoughts toward optimism and resilience. And that kind of brain attracts better experiences because it's tuned to see the potential in every moment. There's also a spiritual magnetism that gratitude creates. When you're thankful, you align yourself with a higher frequency. You stop striving from a place of fear and start creating from a place of faith. You trust that more good is on the way because you already see so much good around you. You operate with the belief that life is abundant, not scarce, and that belief manifests into your reality. So each morning, before you check your phone, before you scroll through the news, before you step into the noise, pause, reflect, give thanks. Start small if you have to. Your breath, your bed, a roof over your head. Let that gratitude fill your spirit. Let it shape your thoughts. Let it guide your tone and energy throughout the day. Because when you move through life with gratitude as your foundation, you'll notice that life begins to respond to you in beautiful, unexpected ways. You'll attract peace, opportunity, love, and abundance, not because you were chasing them, but because you were living in a state that welcomed them. That's the magnetic power of gratitude. When you truly understand the power of gratitude, especially when you begin your day with it, your entire life starts to change, not because your circumstances suddenly become perfect, but because your perspective becomes powerful. Gratitude is more than just saying thank you. It's a mindset, a lifestyle, a way of experiencing the world that shifts your focus from what's missing to what's present. When you wake up with gratitude in your heart, you start seeing life through a different lens. You stop waiting for happiness to come from outside sources and begin realizing it's something you can choose, something you can generate from within. It doesn't mean you won't have bad days. It doesn't mean challenges will disappear, but it means you'll approach everything with a deeper strength, with more clarity, and with a heart that refuses to be hardened by life's trials. Gratitude softens your pain and sharpens your vision. It makes you resilient, patient, and open to life's lessons. When others give up, gratitude gives you the fuel to keep going. When things don't go as planned, gratitude reminds you that there's still purpose in the process. And when you feel like you have nothing left, gratitude shows you that you still have breath, and that breath is a blessing. The truth is you attract what you embody. If you carry bitterness, you'll attract more reasons to be bitter. But if you carry thankfulness, life will continue giving you more reasons to be thankful. So wake up every morning and claim your power. Take a moment to acknowledge the fact that you're alive, that you've been given another shot to become who you were created to be. Think about how far you've come, how much you've survived, how many moments you thought would break you, but didn't. That's not luck. That's strength. That's growth. That's grace. And when you recognize that, when you live from that awareness, your energy changes. Your energy becomes contagious. You begin to light up rooms without saying a word. You begin to draw in people, opportunities, and experiences that match your frequency. That's not magic. It's mindset. That's not fantasy, it's faith. And it all starts with gratitude. So don't wait for some big breakthrough or milestone to give thanks. Do it now. Do it in the quiet moments. Do it when it's hard. Do it when you're tempted to complain. And especially do it when you rise in the morning. Because how you start your day will shape how you live your day. And if you can start it with a grateful heart, there's no limit to what that day can bring. Gratitude won't just change your mornings, it'll transform your life.